Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown here with Tim Thurber, and you can
Hello.
tell Ryan Graham is not here because we played the awesome intro, and this is State of Atlanta.
Much better. Ryan needs to go on vacation more often.
Exactly. Apparently, he thinks that his fiance's birthday is more important than recording. I mean, we've been doing this longer than they've been together.
It's true. Good point.
So, which relationship actually means the most to him? Obviously, it's her.
I think he's showing his hand right now.
His priorities are out of whack.
Very out of whack. I agree.
All right. Well, we have a special guest this week, Nathan from the Go Tech Please Don't Die podcast, talking all about Louisiana Tech being the newest member of the Sun Belt. Welcome to the show, Nathan. Thanks for being here.
Welcome in.
Thanks for having
Louisiana Tech.
Thanks for having both me and the university in the conference.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. First of all, the first thing I want to say is I love the name of the podcast because I think your sentiment towards Tech is the same sentiment we have towards Georgia State. It's like, dear God, please don't fail us.
Yeah, I mean, the name came about in 2014. We were about to play the University of Oklahoma in the first or second game of the year, and the friends in the group chat were just like, "Go Tech, please don't die." And they did. They lost by like 40 or 50 points. They absolutely died that day, but it was a good sentiment to carry forward, where sometimes, you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes you die.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much whenever we have those big, power games, it's like when we start looking at the schedule, it's like, well, if we can get out of that game without losing too many players, then we'll be pretty good for the rest of the season. So, yeah, definitely know how that goes.
And we've definitely lost some players in some of those games. I remember, I think Washington, maybe we lost someone, like a running back, maybe.
There was one of those games where we actually had a bye week. It's very, very rare we get a bye week after a power game because the Sun Belt this is one thing you'll learn. Sun Belt has no clue how to schedule a season. And I think that the coach said, had we not had that bye week, we would not have had a running back to start that week. We needed a full 2 weeks to actually come back. So, yeah. But that was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah. All right. So just a brief 4-day history here. On Friday, I think it was Friday, we found out that Louisiana Tech, there was going to be a vote on Monday for Louisiana Tech getting invited, which means that it's happening. And then on Monday, the vote came through and it was quote unquote unanimous. And the internet message boards and everything has been blowing up everywhere from, West Virginia down to Louisiana. What is your take on what is the general consensus of Louisiana Tech fans joining the Sun Belt after being in Conference USA for so long?
Yeah, so the general consensus, and this doesn't speak for every Tech fan, of course, but we wanted to be in CUSA when we joined CUSA in 2014, Conference USA. As that conference fell apart piece by piece or chunk by chunk, and we replaced the teams we knew and loved, or knew and at least had heard of, with teams that we hadn't heard of, it became less of a good place. We watched the Sun Belt go from probably the second or third worst conference in the FBS football realm and build and become what it is today. And that's an excellent G5 football conference. And we are excited to be part of it because it surpassed CUSA definitely. Back in 2014 or so, I think we would have said we would rather be in Conference USA than the Sun Belt. I think that we obviously would have said that then. Nowadays, we're absolutely thrilled to have. I'm happy that Texas State left, so that way we could join because it probably wasn't happening any other way.
You guys have you jumped around a lot. Like, you moved conferences. We've only done it, basically once in the G5 level. What are you guys chasing? Are you chasing prestige, money, all the above? Like, how's that gone for Louisiana Tech?
Yeah, so I actually wrote something for our blog today that kind of dives into that a little bit. In terms of us changing conferences that frequently, every 10-ish years, it seems like that's actually not all that uncommon across the college football or college athletics landscape, especially if you dig back further. But we absolutely were chasing prestige. We went from playing in the Sun Belt non-football before the Sun Belt had football as part of the conference. We got an invite to the WAC, and that had teams that like BYU in the WAC at the time. And we went, okay, cool, let's go do this. And so we saw that. We had the opportunity. Tulsa, SMU, Rice were in that conference at the time too. So we went, okay, well, we are a tier up from what the Sun Belt football that was just starting would become. And we went from there. We were in the WAC. The WAC kind of fell apart. So we are in this island now where we're playing Hawaii, and the closest school to us is in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And that just wasn't fun. We joined Conference USA. We have regional rivals again. Tulane's in the conference. Tulsa's back in the conference, and then they leave within a couple years. So then we're stuck again with playing teams that are pretty far away. Southern Miss with us for a while, and then Southern Miss left, and now we're like, what are we doing here? So it absolutely was a game of playing for prestige and playing for money, honestly, too. You got more money being in the more prestigious conferences. But I think at this point, at least me personally as a Tech fan, I'm kind of tired of playing that game. It does not work. I think Texas State is going to find that out themselves. They're on an island in the Pac-12 now, and it is about playing schools that your fans have heard of and playing schools that you can take a bus trip to for the most part. I mean, James Madison is pretty far away from Ruston, but
Sure.
for the most part, the teams that you're going to be playing are going to be close. You're going to have friends that go to those schools that you can argue with, and I'm talking to Sunbelt people here. Georgia Southern, I'm sure that y'all have people
Love
you
them.
know. Yeah,
They're fantastic
exactly.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
rivals-
We don't use that term around here. They're
We
just
don't.
called they're just called the trash down south. So
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. That's exactly the thing. Playing in a local conference against teams that you care about, whether or not you want to admit it, whether you want to. I'm not speaking again about y'all here, to be clear.
Yeah.
You want to pretend like you're better than them, and they're just that trash.
They're trash. You're
Yeah,
good.
then that gets you excited. That gets you wanting to go to football games. And I think apathy has been a big thing in Louisiana Tech these past few years when we've lost teams that we've heard of. And, maybe you've heard of playing FIU, but that's only because you've been in the conference with them for a few years. But you don't know anyone that lives in
right.
goes to FIU. So the regionality, I think, is what we're most excited for as Tech fans.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. You mentioned playing in the WAC. I've always said, because I have the maturity of a 12-year-old, I've always thought that if the WAC had survived and made it to a point where they had a championship game, it should be called the WAC off.
I'm surprised they didn't. I mean, the 90s were a different time.
They were, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they could have gotten away with it.
Right.
How do the fans in Conference USA feel about y'all leaving? Like, are they upset? Are they just like, get out? We don't want you. We're amazing. Because that's how it feels from the Sun Belt to the Conference
Bring on
USA.
Tarleton.
Like,
Yeah.
Sun Belt feels like the Conference USA feels like they're still this superior conference. And we're all like, are you on drugs? What are you on? Because it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to realize that half of Conference USA is pretty new, right? You have Liberty thinks they're better than everyone because they can outspend everyone, but outside of them, you have Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee, who I think both of them are hoping to get a Sun Belt invite. Maybe they will in the future. We'll see how the dominoes fall in the future. But outside of that group, you really have mostly FCS call-ups who are very new to the FBS scene, and in my opinion, should be happy they're playing FBS football, let alone talking about conference prestige. I haven't heard much, but also Twitter has been, or really any social media has been a lot more dead since Southern Miss and Marshall and even especially the American Athletic Schools left Conference USA. The landscape has kind of died, and that goes back to just being excited about joining the Sun Belt, where we get to have this online discussion and get to be friendly hating people around us. But in terms of what we've heard, I've heard very little. I assume Western Kentucky is sad, but I also assume that they would have absolutely taken the same deal that we would have. So there's not really much that they could be mad about.
Yeah, so there's a rumor going around, or it's been said online, that you guys had some booster or somebody that was willing to put up the money, the exit fee, the $5 million that they think it's going to be to get out of conference. Do you know anything more about that? Is there any truth to that, or how that came about? Because the reason why I asked the question is I think the reason why Louisiana Tech maybe got the offer so quickly and ahead of Western Kentucky is because you had somebody willing to make that that donation or pay that exit fee, whereas Western Kentucky maybe didn't know what their finances were going to be yet. So yeah.
So I don't know the exact, was this one donor the person who donated the money? And I don't think it's as simple as that. But I do know that this has been something that our athletic administration, since they took over about a year ago, not even a year and a half ago, they have been eyeing a move like this. the writing has been on the wall in Conference USA that we were going to take our first lifeboat out of here and head towards another ship if we could. And so that is time that you can use to raise funds to say, hey, look, I'm not asking for this money now, but if this opportunity arises, can we get $500,000? Can we get, yeah, can we get
Right.
like chunk change here and there? I mean, $500,000 is a lot more than chunk change, but can we get the money to be able to escape? And for this exact opportunity, I think that in the press conference or a radio interview today, our athletic director, Ryan Ivey, mentioned that 6 months ago, they saw that Texas State may be moving to the Pac-12. And that's when this exact plan started. And they were kind of nose to the grindstone then and jumped on it as soon as they could. It's also worth mentioning, and we haven't gotten into sports specific yet, but our football team is not very good.
Don't fit
right in.
We're okay.
And we haven't historically. We had Skip Holtz as our head coach for a while, who's done great things in the USFL since he's left. We fired him and we hired an upshot Sonny Cumbie, who we now can't afford to fire. And possibly we could have fired him. And
if you stayed.
if we had stayed, or if this opportunity hadn't happened, we would have $5 million more, and it takes about $2 million to get rid of him for this season.
He's gonna be pretty happy then.
Yeah. And so he has job security the next 2 years. He has time to turn things around, and I hope he does. It may turn out that he just needs time. This is his first head coaching gig. Skip Holtz had been a head coach for a while when he came here. It's the new NIL era, and maybe things get turned around, but we did have to make sacrifices coming up with that $5 million. We are the second smallest athletic budget in conference or in FBS football, second to ULM. So it's not like we are flush with cash in general, but I do think that having a plan put in place, having a competent athletic department helped us with this move and put us above Western Kentucky. I also think that ULM, ULL, and Southern Miss much rathered us. And no one really wanted to go for bat for Western Kentucky the same way that those three schools wanted us in so badly.
I do feel kind of bad for those schools you mentioned, Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee State. I mean, I don't ever feel bad for Liberty. I don't care where they are, but I feel bad for them now because they're kind of left alone. I mean, they're in a conference, but they're now kind of on the little island by themselves, the little group of two. I don't know. Do we throw them a life raft? Does the Sun Belt say, hey, let's add 2 more? Let's just take them in?
I don't think right now.
Or does the MAC?
Yeah,
or the MAC.
Because that was a rumor a few years ago, was that the MAC, when Southern Miss and Marshall and Old Dominion left for the Sun Belt,
they left.
They would leave for the MAC. And Middle Tennessee said no because they didn't want to pay the Conference USA exit fee.
Pay it now.
Which, they'll figure something out. But also, they made money off of that deal. Part of it, 3 schools leaving. Tech got some as well because you got the exit fees from those 3 schools. So Tech gets to get the exit money from those schools, put some of that probably towards the exit fee for themselves, and end up in the Sun Belt anyway. So hopefully they land on their feet. I have no ill will. I love the Talrac and several other Western Kentucky fans that we've come across over the years. They're one of the teams I really enjoyed playing and felt like we didn't really have a rivalry, but we both had football histories. We were both in the Sun Belt together as non-football members at one point too. So we want to see them do well. We don't wish them ill, but at the same time, we're not going to, not join the Sun Belt to help them out.
Right.
No. We just like to beat them in bowl games. That's our thing. Right?
Yeah. Undefeated 2-0 against Western Kentucky in bowl games. Yeah. My only thing about Western Kentucky, about them coming in, whether it was in addition to Louisiana Tech or instead of whatever, was I love bourbon, and I would love to have a trip up to Bowling Green and bourbon country every few years, and that was really my only interest in Western Kentucky joining the conference. That they were one of the teams that when we joined the Sun Belt, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, who was it? Was it the Florida schools were still
FAU was still
they were in there, and so I was like, oh, those would be cool schools to play, and they immediately bolted. And I think maybe we got one game against Western Kentucky out of the whole thing before they went to Conference USA. But yeah, oh crap, I was going to say something. What was going? I'm sure it was me. Oh well, let's we have our buddy Jerry at Ragin' Review
Some love.
and Lafayette wanted to chime in, and that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. Is we actually, when the first rumors came out about Louisiana Tech being at the top of the list about coming to the Sun Belt, we had Jerry on because there's this history, man. I've witnessed it online. There's some animosity. There's some
deep love.
beef
Deep love.
between Louisiana Tech and the other two Louisiana schools in the conference, and we wanted to get his take on you guys. I think it's safe to say that the other Louisiana schools really don't care for you guys so much, even though I think
No.
they actually vote. They wanted you to be in the conference, but
Yeah.
the fan base doesn't like you too much.
No.
Yeah, and those schools know that their fan bases don't like us, and dislike of other programs builds ticket
Mhm.
sales. ULL is not selling out. They might have last year when they had half the stadium closed, but ULM is not
Ooh.
selling out their football. Oh no, for construction, that's not a dig. I'll dig them when I'm being mean to them. I'll be mean to them. That wasn't being mean to them.
You're just
No,
facts.
that's what I wanted to say. It was like I think that the West schools have gotten a little too comfy and cozy over there. They like each other a little too much. Over here in the East, there's
We
a
all
lot
hate
of
each
beef. Like
other.
there's
Yeah.
us and Trash Down South. That's huge. The Trash Down South and Appy State that goes back decades and decades. Coastal is a bunch of a-holes. Jimmy Madison was arrogant,
Mullets.
biggest word you can get there. Marshall's like literally the only school that's in the East where I'm kind of like, yeah, we're cool
You're
guys.
okay.
Yeah, you're all right. So West
meanwhile, they've been the ones.
needed
Marshall's
West
been the
needed a
ones giving us
shakeup, man.
shit. Yeah,
Are they? I saw that. What's the deal there?
I have no idea. I still haven't
Where's this
figured it
coming
out.
from? They just like hate you guys. Like every little announcement that Sunbelt posts, they're like commenting on everything.
My understanding and this is venturing into conspiracy a little bit, but
Let's do it.
a lot of the Far East schools want an East team. I think that's
Mhm.
that's in general. They don't want to travel to Louisiana Tech. JMU, ODU don't want to travel to Ruston, and so they want their own team. And I think also that they kind of want to split off from the Louisiana and Mississippi schools to begin with. Whether the Sun Belt ends up falling apart or not, we'll see. It always happens, but we'll see. But for the hatred of the West, I think
Mhm.
that a school like Louisiana Tech helps with that. It helps
Mhm.
build that anger that you can have towards these other things. Again, people. You went to high school with people that went to those schools, and you can come back home over summer break and talk trash. You can drive. It is 30 minutes from Ruston to Monroe.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
Yeah, and the odd thing is that there's not that much animosity with UL Monroe. We kind of view them as our little almost said sister, little sibling. I didn't mean to be that bad with it, but that what I mean though is that we do not really have a history playing each other.
Yeah. Well, is that
They-
because you guys wouldn't play them? Because like that's one of their arguments.
That's what
that was
they
a
say.
rumor.
That is what they say.
Tech,
let's
we don't
talk.
play.
We don't know that. We don't know what's true or not.
So we did play, I believe, or we scheduled to play in 2020. COVID, I forget that game even got played or not, but that was on the docket for that. The game that everyone talks about from ULM, and by everyone I mean all four of them, is the
Ooh.
2012 Independence Bowl. Tech was in the
Right.
WAC. It was our final year in the WAC. The WAC had one bowl tie-in and 3 9-3 teams. And so, because there was only one bowl tie-in for the conference, we would have to we weren't guaranteed a bowl especially. So
Okay.
what ended up happening was the Independence Bowl decided on the Tuesday before conference championship weekend, which the WAC did not have a conference championship game.
No
So
whack
we already
off.
knew
No
whack
whack
off. Maybe
Yeah.
that was why. Maybe they just never had the game.
No
But-
good times. No good times.
Yeah. But when we were waiting for conference championship Saturday to happen, so that way, everyone who's 6-6, everyone who's got bowls, they all get figured out on the Saturday going into Sunday. They get announced at like noon or 1 p.m. Eastern on the Sunday who's going to what bowl. Now it's all spoiled on Twitter, but that was the
right.
system at the time. And the Independence Bowl comes to Tech on Tuesday before Saturday and says, "Hey, we want to play y'all. We want to put you against ULM." And we're thinking, we've played the Independence Bowl a few times. It's an hour down the road. We want something kind of bigger, right? We had just played Texas A&M and lost by 2 in a barn burner in that stadium in the Independence Bowl against Johnny Manziel. And
Wow.
we wanted something different. We had just been to the Independence Bowl. And yeah, in retrospect, we should have taken it because we
Sure.
didn't know that there wasn't going to be another opportunity, but there were rumors that the Liberty Bowl was going to offer us. And certain teams, I forget the exact sequence of events, but certain teams won or lost on that Saturday in the championship game, which affected how teams were placed and so on all the way down the road to where we ended up getting left out. And so it wasn't about ULM at all. It was about the Independence Bowl. And we've played there since. We played there this past year when Marshall had to drop it. Maybe that's why Marshall's so upset, is that we took their spot in the Independence Bowl and made them look bad. But
Maybe.
Well, they didn't
But
have a team.
Well, yeah, they
yeah,
had a problem.
it's not our fault that their coach left to go to Southern Miss and take half their team with them. Yeah, it was not about ULM at all, and if it was, we would be talking about it and talking about how we were better than them and everything. But it was about wanting a more prestigious bowl game, and a bowl game we haven't played in as many times as we had the Independence Bowl.
See, you always got to get the both sides of the story. So,
Yeah.
we hear it from Monroe and the Lafayette guys. And that was one of the things I wanted to ask about was that specific bowl game, because that gets talked about how Louisiana
lot.
Tech just didn't want to play in a bowl game against Monroe. But so what you're saying is we're holding out for a better opportunity, because Liberty Bowl would obviously be better than Independence Bowl for sure.
Yeah,
Easily.
if the Liberty Bowl had come to us on that Tuesday and said we want to play y'all against ULM, we would have said absolutely.
Okay, makes sense. That makes
so
sense.
with you guys having ULM just down the road, when y'all play them, is it like, do you infiltrate their stadium and just take it over? I mean, you're so close.
Yeah, so in football, we haven't played in a while. Again, we just kind of went over that. So I think it will remain to be seen whether or not we can fully take over their football stadium. We're not exactly selling out our own football stadium right now. We are also, these are FBS football stadiums that are at minimum 20,000, 25,000 seat stadiums, and our enrollment is at 11, 12,000. So it's not like we're a huge school. Yeah, we're in a rural area, so you have a lot of fans that aren't currently enrolled at Tech that live in Ruston or in Shreveport that would make that drive over for some Tech games, sometimes coming from Dallas as well. But if it's a Saturday, and if now that it's scheduled well in advance, I expect a pretty big Tech contingent there, as well as more people at our own home games, because we're playing teams that we've heard of now.
I hope it can pull some of the ULM fans out. Right?
Sorry?
I hope we can pull the Monroe fans out.
Oh, yeah. And
games,
yeah, have them buy tickets from us and then, fund our athletic budget, please. Be happy to have them.
Do you currently play Monroe in other sports, in your basketball, baseball, whatever?
Basketball is possibly, we may have played them a couple times over the last few years. Baseball, we usually do. Most of the in-state Division I schools will do a home and home with, or sometimes a weekend series. LSU, we were able to come to our baseball stadium once. We usually go there, except a couple years ago where they scheduled every school in the state of Louisiana except for us, and that was the year after we beat them twice. So there might have been some reason, but incentivizing us not to beat them. But really, it's a baseball thing. And when the tornado came through Ruston a few years ago and destroyed our baseball stadium, ULM hosted us, and we played several of our home baseball games on their campus, because it's half an hour down the road.
Look at that.
Yeah, so I don't view ULM with animosity the same way I do with ULL. I view them as, they're kind of there, and maybe that changes. Maybe, we are on the cusp of something great in football, and they beat us in the second to last week or last week of the season, and now we're mad at them. Stuff like that could happen. But as of right now, coming into the conference, they're just kind of there.
So big hug out in midfield is what you're gonna have for now.
Oh yeah, I mean, not a hug out, just a handshake, but not flipping each other off either.
So let's talk about Lafayette.
The other school. Who are they first? That's what I want to know. We literally don't know what to call them on our podcast. Every time I want to say their name, I'm like, Lafayette, Louisiana. I don't know.
I call them Lafayette. And I am a fan of pettiness. I mean, if I am as petty as they come. And I saw that you guys wrote a Chrome extension.
Yeah, that was all me.
That was you. That was you. All right. So explain what this Chrome extension does.
What was the?
I don't even know if it still works. It was like 2018, so I haven't kept up and made updates to it over time. But the idea is that the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, I think it's actually University of Louisiana Lafayette, and then it's at Monroe. But either way, what they want to do is call themselves the University of Louisiana. They have I wish I had the link up in front of me. They had a a diatribe of their story of how they were persecuted and wanted to become the University of Louisiana for so long, but it would never happen. And finally they stood up and they just said, we're doing it now. And it's the saddest thing. The reason why this matters and the reason why that there's this fight, Tulane was founded as the University of Louisiana. They changed their name after a donor, donated a bunch of money. Sure. I mean, that's not really the reason why here. The main thing is that internally in the university system in Louisiana, there are two systems. There's the LSU system and there is the UL system. The LSU system has LSU. It also has like LSU at Shreveport, LSU Eunice, LSU Alexandria, little schools around. And then the other side of it is the University of Louisiana system. This is where Tech is. This is where ULL is. This is where ULM is. This is where Northwestern State is. This is where Southeastern Louisiana is. Nichols State, McNeese State. I'm just listing schools you probably haven't heard of, but this is where all the kind of mid-level in terms of enrollment programs are in the state of Louisiana. Part of that agreement when everyone came together is that there is no flagship university of this system. LSU, Baton Rouge, is the flagship of the LSU system.
Yeah.
They are by not just convention, but by like constitution of the LSU system in general. The UL system intentionally does not have a flagship school because these are all schools coming together. And if you name one the University of Louisiana, they are de facto the flagship school because it's the UL system. So UL would be the flagship. So in the 80s, when Southwestern Louisiana, I think this is actually the late 90s, they want to change their name to the University of Louisiana. They don't get all what they want, but they do get to change their name to the University of Louisiana at Lafayette if one other school in the UL system also changes their name to the University of Louisiana something. Jesus. Monroe takes them up on it. At the time, they were Northeastern Louisiana, and so they went, sure, and now they are the University of Louisiana at Monroe. As part of this, in policy M2 of the University of Louisiana system, section 3, guideline C. I'm not making this up. I can link the blog post we wrote up about this a few years ago. The use of the two-letter University of Louisiana abbreviation UL and/or the phrase U of L are prohibited by the university or any of its affiliated organizations, alumni associations, developmental foundations, bookstores, etc., for academic, public relation, athletic, as well as other purposes not specified. The use of the University of Louisiana abbreviation must always include the abbreviation of the municipal location of the institution. For example, ULR is appropriate for the University of Louisiana at Rain. Then in section 3, guideline D, sorry if this is on a time limit, I'm not sure how long this podcast is supposed to be. All uses of the name University of Louisiana must be followed by the word at and the institutional's geographic location. No typographic variations within the name are permitted. The word at must be no less than 50% of the geographic location and must not exceed 100%, nor be less than 80% of the University of Louisiana name. So meaning you can't just put a little tiny and or at Lafayette there at the end. It has to be the same size text as the rest of it. Any institutional use of University of Louisiana without the at geographic location is prohibited.
All right. So Nathan, I work on a lot of contracts. You read a lot of contract language, basically. It sounds pretty straightforward what you can and can't do. Now you're going to tell us why they did how they did something they can't do.
Yeah. So officially their school name, the name that's on their diplomas if they actually end up graduating, says the University of Louisiana Lafayette. Right? Okay. Because that is the name of the academic institution. What they say, their athletic program is the Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
Yeah.
They call themselves UL, which they don't do officially, but they say Louisiana. But Louisiana Raging Cajuns being the athletic name that they are then shortening to Louisiana, they're not referring to the institution, University of Louisiana Lafayette, with it. They're referring to Louisiana Raging Cajuns being their full nickname. So they are skirting around in a way that, I mean, again, if you've read contract law, hats off to you for figuring out the loophole like that. But we're not going to play that game. There is a reason why we don't want a school called the University of Louisiana. It's because it gives that school more credence in our system than the other schools. And that's why schools like ULM used to care about this before they kind of gave into apathy about it. And LSU's mad about it because LSU doesn't want another school to, have that same that same banner and being like, we're LSU and that's UL, and these are the 2 Louisiana schools because they're head and shoulders above all of us politically. So,
all right. So what do we
someone
call
needs
them?
to do
Help
it.
me. Help us. We
Yeah.
don't know what to call them.
So
We don't.
we call that, yeah. So UL Lafayette is usually what I'll go with. I think the blog I was reading through their branding guide, and they were like, don't do this and don't do that, but also you can't do this, and so they're kind of like forcing your hand into calling them what they want you to call them. But I will call them Louisiana Lafayette or UL
I do
Lafayette.
that. UL Lafayette.
Calling them
Okay.
just Lafayette gets a little confusing because there's Lafayette College in Pennsylvania, which is probably honestly a better school. But
Ooh.
but
Bubbly.
when it comes to the school in Lafayette, Louisiana Lafayette, ULL, they used to get made fun of and called ULala. I mean, Tech used to
Yeah,
get
I
called.
remember
Well,
that
back
one.
when we were at Louisiana Polytechnic Institute, we were called Lolly Poly. I mean, I
That's
don't
actually a
really
great
hate that
name.
that much.
That's
I
actually a
like that.
great name.
We make merch, and I'm thinking about this now. I may put that on a T-shirt.
You
Yeah,
should.
that's fantastic. I would totally
Uh,
run with that. That's awesome.
yeah. At the end of the day, and it's not about getting under their skin because I think that's what they think. One of the other guys on our gang was on their show last night, Rage and Review, and they were like, "Well, we just call y'all UL Ruston then." I was like, "Yeah, but our university name is not UL Ruston and never was UL Ruston.
You didn't choose that.
Your school name is the University of Louisiana Lafayette or at Lafayette, whichever one. It doesn't really matter. It should be the at, according to what I just read.
Yeah.
So we're calling your school by what your school is named. Look at your diploma. I assume you have one. They give them to everybody.
Yeah, I call
Yeah.
I just refer to them as Lafayette or, our friends in Lafayette or just I
Yeah.
use Lafayette.
I'll say Louise.
I've also seen, Nathan, I've seen Lafayette, like making fun of them, like laughing at them, Lafayette. I've seen before.
Yeah.
But so
Lucky
you
Taffy,
read,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it. I think I can speak for Tim here, and I know I can speak for Ryan because he's not here. We will make an agreement with you. We will
Okay.
call Lafayette whatever the hell you want us to call them. And I'm going to read from the branding guide of the Trash Down South. The terms
Ooh.
Georgia Southern University and Georgia Southern are university trademarks, and their use should adhere to all standard of trademark use. Use of GSU is prohibited. Simply use GS on second reference if needed. So as long as you commit to referring to Trash Down South as Trash Down South or GS, if you have to do a formal thing, well, we're cool calling them Lafayette or whatever you want to call them.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'd say GSU, I assume that's state. Like
Yes.
LSU is state. Every S I've seen is state. That just kind of tracks with me. I mean, in my head, I kind of call them like GASO or GASO or GASO.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not as catchy, I guess. But
Yeah, we get and we
We're
similarly
gassed.
get put gassed all the time. I don't like the gassed. I don't like that. So.
I don't.
No, they're
I mean, GSU. Don't get me wrong. GSU is better. There's not any other state that starts with a G either. So like, you're not going to get confused by that.
actually Grambling State
Grambling
University.
State.
That's
Actually,
true.
they own the
That's true.
trademark of GSU. I went through some trademark stuff, and GSU was getting on to me about it. I'm like, you don't even own the trademark GSU.
Yeah.
Grambling State owns it and everything. So yeah, you got your legalese. I wanted to get my legalese in there too.
I've used
Grambling,
Louisiana
by the way.
Lafayette. Hmm?
Yeah, Grambling's 10 minutes down the road from us too. So we're all kind
Oh
of
wow.
in that neighborhood.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say Louisiana Lafayette, and they get really
Yeah.
angry, like really
Yeah.
angry. I'm like,
And
I
they
don't
think-
know what to call you.
They think it's about them, which is the weird. Like, they think we're trying to get
No.
under their skin and insult them by calling them their university name, which to me just shows that they're not proud of their university enough to use its name.
Right.
They want to be the University of Louisiana. They want to be some fictional university that doesn't exist so badly that they're throwing their own university under the bus. And Lafayette as a city is nice. I've spent a little bit of time in their downtown area. It's a cute city. The traffic sucks. The getting around town and from one side to the other absolutely is terrible. But
You're talking to guys that live in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, there.
I was like,
I live
man.
I live in the DC metro, so it's not any better for me either.
Oh
but,
God! Oh yeah! God,
no.
I've had to drive through that during rush hour. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. But I mean, be proud of your city, man. And if Tech wanted to be University of Louisiana Ruston, and that was our history, I would be for it. But that was never our deal. Our deal was Tech, so we are Tech.
Yeah, it makes sense. I like it. Yeah. So we kind of gloss over it a little bit with Marshall and everything, but like there has been a lot of hatred and anger and disappointment, mostly from, I would say almost exclusively from the Sun Belt East teams about Louisiana Tech joining. And we're talking about, in football, they'll play you once every 4 or 5 years or something like that, and
Right.
in Ruston once every 8 years,
And right
Um,
now we'd give them a win.
right now you
Yeah.
give them a win. I think a
A
lot of the
free
things we've said is
win.
like,
Yeah,
thanks for
come on.
the like because like Texas State was like that hard game to play. But like, so when Marshall and ODU and Southern Miss joined with Jimmy Madison, there was actually a lot of fanfare. I mean, the conference as a whole was like, this is awesome. We were really into it. We were a little bit different on it. I think we both were excited about
We were.
Marshall and
Yeah.
Southern Miss. Old Dominion, Jimmy Madison, we weren't too excited about. But what's it like? Get seeing something that's a better opportunity for you, getting that happening, and then those people that you're now joined with, kind of coming at you. Does that just fuel you? Does it piss you off? Or are you like, whatever? How does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's still the thrill of being invited and moving out of Conference USA outweighs any of that. Uh, to where you can hate us, and that's kind of the point. Like the Western schools hate us because there are historic rivalries here, and so we're already being hated. So might as well just steer right into it and be the heel, and
Hmm.
talk trash and have fun with it. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of what sports are about. It's about having fun. So if everyone is in so upset that we did what's best for us, then Eastern schools, you got your way not too long ago with some of the
Hmm.
additions that were made to the
We did.
conference. So, sometimes it's okay to allow the other side to have a victory every now and then.
Yeah.
Right.
I am not tuned in to the entire workings of the Sun Belt. It I kind of hinted at earlier. I wouldn't be surprised if the East schools at some point say, "Fine, we're taking our ball and going home," and form their own league or figure something out. Just because nothing in college conferences is forever, especially
Sure.
if the ACC ever blows up and that throws everything in disarray, or the
Hmm.
We'll
Pac-12,
all get
yeah,
resorted. Yeah.
everything. Yeah, who knows if G5 conferences will even exist at the level that they do now in 10 or 20 years because of all everything that's going on. So at the end of the day, realize it's kind of temporary. Uh,
Right.
and yeah, like you said, in football, you're coming down here every at most 4 years, probably less than that.
Right.
Um, Basketball and baseball, sure, but also, you're traveling for that anyway. And then if you're going to come down for ULM, you might as well stay in the hotel and go to Louisiana
Just
Tech 2 days later and play them on a road swing like that. You don't even have to check out of the hotel. You can just stay in the same one.
there
Uh,
was a moment when the Sun Belt pretty much had two teams in each state they were in, and if it wasn't same state, they were close. And so yeah,
yeah,
for basketball, it was travel partners. So every week,
yeah,
if Lafayette was traveling to Georgia, they were playing state and trash down south, or if they were traveling to Alabama, they'd get south and Troy State, and everything. So yeah, that was actually a pretty awesome kind of layout in the schedule. The same thing now here. If obviously whatever Olympic sport's going to go to Ruston, might as well just have Monroe 2 or 3 days later and everything.
right,
So or vice versa.
yeah.
So yeah. Um, do obviously Lafayette and Monroe are immediate rivals. Like I guess Southern Miss is kind of a rival of you guys
Southern Miss is
from the conference and from the proximity and everything as well. I was just kind of curious, like what are the teams you think that will be like the real big draws for you guys when
I
you
mean,
get back
the
in Sunbelt?
Southern Miss, sorry, the Southern Miss rivalry is well documented. It has a Wikipedia page, rivalry in Dixie.
That's pretty
Uh,
good.
yeah, for one of our longtime coaches. Went to Southern Miss back when they were, I think, Mississippi Teachers College. It may have been after that, but there's been this long documented history of our rivalry. They own us in football, or at least they have a much better record against us than we have against them historically. I mean, against ULL, we have owned that side of it. So, I'll call it as I see it, and Southern Miss has had our number historically. But they are a school we would constantly play all the time, especially when you go into the 80s. And, they had their blow up in 2000, early 2000. And then to be back with them in Conference USA was exciting because we can reignite that. And it got reignited. and they were our travel partner. Typically for Conference USA, you would play basketball games on Thursday and Saturday, and you play one school on Thursday and the other one on Saturday, and
Yep.
do travel partners. So they were our travel partner for that. So we ended up playing them a little more often in basketball. They've got a baseball tradition like many other schools.
Yep.
ULL, I'm excited to play them in baseball again too, and do weekend series instead of these, Tuesday night games against them. But yeah, when it comes to who I would pick for a conference with Louisiana Tech to get fans excited, and I couldn't pick like LSU. You can't
Right.
pick schools that are unobtainable. It would be ULL, Southern Miss, and then a distant third ULM, just because of proximity for them. But these are the schools that get people excited.
Is there a team in the Sun Belt that you haven't played that you're excited to play? You can say us. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I'm kidding.
Georgia State is a good answer for this because it is a school that is nearby. It's in a major metro area, so it's a good experience to go visit Atlanta while you're going to a football game or a baseball game or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, have a good time. I mean, me personally, this is my DC area talking here. Is I'm excited for James Madison because I
Super close,
work with a lot of people that went there, and I'm friends with people too. So I can talk trash now to people at work, which is not something I've been able to do for a while. Even when ODU was in the conference with us, I don't know anyone who went to ODU.
You better watch out. Those JMU people are pretty damn proud.
Yeah. Do you what are your thoughts on the color purple? Do you think it's an ugly color or do you like it?
It's an awful color. There's no
Thank
purple
you.
behind
All
me.
right, Nate.
So,
Perfect.
All right,
yeah.
All right. Correct. Our third on here, he
disagree.
He disagrees adamantly. He thinks purple. I've never seen him wear purple either. I've never seen him. Granted, I don't think I've seen him wear non-GSU things ever when we hang out. So
that's also true.
But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, well, part of being a diehard Tech fan is distancing yourself from the school in the state that gets all the funding and all the political progress made towards them, and so on and so on. And that happens to be their color. So now when I see purple, I see the school that keeps tearing us down and not wanting us to have anything nice. So
yeah, if you have any questions on what to think about any fan bases in the Sun Belt East, be sure to let us know. We could give you some definite descriptions of what these fan bases are like, but kind of like to what Tim's question was, and you said us, but I'm going to say outside of Marshall and outside of Old Dominion, which you have history playing from Conference USA, is there I know this is kind of the same question, but is there a team in the East that you would like to be a rival? I'm assuming it's going to be Jimmy Madison based off of what you just said. I guess I'm kind of just asking the same question. So probably Jimmy Madison would be the team that you look forward to playing and being that rival in the East.
Yeah, me personally, Nathan is going to be James Madison. I don't think that the fan base, shares that sentiment with me. I think right now when we're looking at what we're optimistic about as Tech fans, we're optimistic about baseball. Bowling too, but bowling's not going to be a Sun Belt sport, so that's a topic for another day. We have a top 10 bowling team for women's bowling, so I think that's probably going to stay in Conference USA because I think 8 of the top 10 bowling teams are in Conference USA. But outside of that, it's baseball. Baseball is where we've had the most success recently. We hosted a regional not too long ago, and since 2015 or so, we've been competing for conference titles every single year, and so to watch a future conference mate go and play against that school I hate in Baton Rouge, and not quite
close. I know.
Take them down, but yeah, Coastal Carolina. If we're able to have our baseball team be as good as I hope it is, I'm also a huge baseball fan. That's what most of these things behind me are baseball bobbleheads.
I noticed that.
Yeah. Then if we're able to build a rivalry with them in baseball, where we're competing for conference titles and chances to host regionals and go to Omaha and everything that comes with that, then I would be extremely thrilled.
Well, we're just hoping to build a better baseball team. That's where we're at right now. We're trying to get out of our current park, which is in Panthersville, Georgia, which is east of the school, too far away for like
9 miles away.
It's too far for like a student to say, let me just walk. You're not going to walk over there.
No.
So we're trying to build stadium in Fulton County where it used to be Hank Aaron Wall, all that stuff. Like we're trying to do that. So we're hoping to build from there.
You took a baseball stadium and turned it into a football field, right?
We turned
Yeah,
we took an Olympic track and field stadium, turned
Yeah.
that into a baseball stadium, and we turned
and
that
then
into
turn
a
that into
football
football.
stadium.
Well,
Next,
can you-
we're going to turn it into, I don't know.
Well, can you just take Mercedes-Benz Stadium and turn it into a baseball stadium? That's what I'm saying.
Well, if they leave it,
Well,
I don't know.
you know, what 15
Well,
years from now we'll probably do it. So
Yeah.
maybe the helmet behind me is speaking for me, but I'd be happy to have someone
yeah,
get evicted from that building.
yeah. Well, we stole your sponsor, so go
Yeah,
kick
that's fair.
rocks.
We did.
But we got
Uh,
gambling now.
You do.
Yeah, and you guys are getting gambling money. Or no, was it they're doing the sports betting is gonna be paying out to the Louisiana schools like equally or something like that?
Really?
I'm not even sure what you're talking about there, but that
There's
might
some
have been in
there's
the
some
news. I'm not a big
Sounds
yeah,
sports
good.
betting guy, so I don't keep up with a lot of
no,
that.
yeah, there was something that came out.
Is it like their way to fund the
Yeah, it's
scholarships and stuff?
they're
Like
doing
hope?
some kind of sports betting that they're gonna take the money in Louisiana and divvy it up equally. So Louisiana Tech will get the same share that Louisiana State gets, and and Monroe and stuff like that. So yeah,
That won't
I don't
last
remember.
long.
Yeah, I didn't.
That won't last long.
It wasn't. I don't think they were expecting it to be a lot of money because obviously the government's got to get their hands into it. Different
Yeah.
conversation for a different day. But yeah, there was that. So you're one of your guys, Evan at
Yeah.
at GoTech. He did a little write up. I think it was today or yesterday about his personal take on what the fan bases are like, or the opponents are like in the Sun Belt when you guys join, and didn't have much to say about us. Fair, it was a little bit of a dig. It's fine. We just got started. We haven't been good. Fair, okay. Not gonna really.
Fair enough.
I don't care about that.
We also
But
just don't know you guys
yeah,
very well.
that's
So
fine. That's
there's
fine.
not
That's not.
you have to say something.
Yeah. No, that's. I mean, it was literally a sentence. But the reason why I want to bring this blog post up is what he said about Coastal Carolina, who you were just talking about. Is his response is this was also a very short one. If you want to know what he thinks, his Marshall is 3 paragraphs. But Coastal
Wow.
Carolina, he said one dude asked if we liked LSU. We said hell no. He said good enough for me. Welcome to the belt. They seem chill. Can't wait for baseball season. Coastal Carolina fans are anything but chill. They are.
Yeah. There's no way you make it to the College World Series final and don't
you're
have a chip on
chill.
your shoulder. Yeah, like I would do the same exact thing. Like if Tech made it anywhere close to the CWS final, I would not shut up about it. Like I would get
Right.
kicked out of meetings at work because I would bring it up at every opportunity. I get
Yeah.
it. Like that, if you are good at something and you have that success, talk your shit. But
Yeah.
also, if if 10 years from now they return to the basement, or not that they were awful 10 years ago, but
Sure.
10 years that they're not as great now and struggling to find their way in baseball, and they're still talking like they're the king of the mountain, then that's when we can have a problem with it.
You're
But
basically describing trash down south
yeah,
right now. Easily.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
They they're something. So I thought there was. Oh yeah. This is not that big of a deal, but I noticed that y'all's future schedules has a lot of Sunbelt teams on it. So you guys have to get to work trying to figure out what these games are going to get replaced with.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's really a conversation to have there, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and so do those other schools. I think next
Yeah.
year we have both ULL and USM on the schedule, and there are parts of home and homes that go forward. I think we have ULM scheduled in 2030. I mean, that one's probably pretty easy to get rid of.
Yeah, they'd be
But
fine.
there is going to be something, and then also we're going to be competing with those two schools to fill those schedule slots as well when they also need to replace it on their schedule. That was part of our plan to continue to play these local schools and drum up support. And if we couldn't do it in conference because we were in different conferences, then we'd schedule them out of conference. It was a conceded effort that we saw where we wanted to go, and we went, okay, well, if we have the opportunity to join them in conference, we'll figure this out, and we'll figure it out. There are plenty of schools that, especially now that there's so many Conference USA schools that don't have history scheduling home and homes with G5 programs. Maybe we do a home and home with Sam Houston or someone like that that's close by.
Right.
We have been trying to play more. We probably try to schedule more out of conference games in Texas because we recruit the Dallas and Houston areas pretty heavily, and a lot of our fan base is in Dallas and Houston. I think Dallas is our number 2 or number 3 alumni base as a university. So we try to play football games there when we can. So I think that there is opportunity to schedule decent opponents, but you're right, it does present a challenge, especially on the next year or the year that we're joining
Right.
the Sun Belt if it is 2026 to have those things in place.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a question I meant to ask. Yeah, so I think when the Louisiana Tech's press release said no later than July 1st, 2027, which for Sunbelt would mean that we would have the 2026 season where we'd only have 13 teams. You know, I mean, like, and I know you're not, an insider in the whole kind of thing, but we can assume that probably they're going to find a way to make this work in 2026. Do you agree?
Yeah, they're going to find a way if they can find a way. It's going to come down to some sort of negotiation with Conference USA. Uh, Back when the trio of Southern Miss, Marshall, and Old Dominion left Conference USA, they did so on a similar timetable where they were trying to get out after, they didn't give the correct notice.
The notice.
The university
right.
said, you can't leave. They sued Conference USA. They did some settlement, and then they
left.
ended up leaving. So I don't think
I remember Conference USA actually put out a football schedule that included
Yes, I
Southern
remember
Miss and Marshall Old Dominion on there. And I think it was like a week after the Sun Belt had released their schedule or something like that. Maybe
Yeah.
it was before. I don't remember exactly. But awkward.
I mean, they're still using software on Windows 95 machines in Dallas where they're creating the conference schedules or doing all the conference work in Conference USA. So it probably just took that long to render before they even knew they could stop it. But yeah, I forgot actually what the question was. I was so focused on my dig towards Conference USA that
I don't remember what we're talking about as well. I was
about joining early. Yeah. So
Right.
2026. I don't think we'll need to do a lawsuit again. I think we'll be able to just reach out and say and have a conversation. They'll say one thing. The same thing about us getting to the Sun Belt, where there's some political maneuvering and you have to get certain people on board and everything. But there's already a number because that number got paid by 3 other schools. So it exists. It will be fine. I don't think that that's going to be a deal breaker here. Tech wants out as soon as possible, and so the Sun Belt wants us in as soon as possible. So there's enough support there to help.
Yeah, if Louisiana Tech could come in 2026, then effectively they just kind of take Texas State's spot as far as whatever scheduling has been, or whatever they've set up for how that out of conference and even the out of division and in division game, those lineups and everything. So
you could probably do them a solid. You could give them a list of SCS schools they could call up to take your spot.
Everyone's
look at all these schools you can take.
Tarleton, Abilene Christian.
Yeah. I've seen McNeese thrown out so they can still have a school in Louisiana.
See? There you go.
Yeah.
Let us out. Let them in.
Yeah.
We're done.
Louisiana has academically, Louisiana has a problem of too many schools for its population, and so might as well just keep bumping them all up until we're all up and we completely take over college football.
It's amazing. We we're kind of wrapping up here, but so when we started football, there was only Georgia Tech, and Trash Down South, and so obviously Georgia and Georgia Tech were up
That's
there.
it.
Trash Down South was FCS. So we joined. And then we go from FCS to FBS like almost immediately. Trash Down South follows us. Kennesaw State starts football. West Georgia, and now all of a sudden Georgia went from having 3 Division I programs to whatever it is, 5 or 6 now, and it's just been like crazy. It's weird that it took that long for it to happen.
It's crazy.
But, yeah.
I mean, once the dam breaks to some extent. I mean, when App State came up from FCS into the Sun Belt not too long ago, that was. I mean, they weren't alone, but you didn't have a lot of movement from FCS to FBS before that.
Mm-hmm.
And so once, like not in the years immediately preceding. So once that happens and teams see the path there, they know a playbook, how to do it, and then they're able to follow those footsteps. You have conferences then that are desperate for schools because they get poached by super conferences that are forming or whatever else goes on. And so you have a pipeline now of taking from FCS. Now FCS has to replace. So they'll get people from Division II who are looking to move up. So it ends up just building towards the top. This has happened before. It will happen again in the future. Teams want to become big time, and they whenever a team realizes it, like Tech, and says, you know what, let's stop playing this game. Let's go to the level where we are and join a
Right.
conference that fits geographically while also not being, you know, beneath even where we think we are,
Right.
then you end up much happier than when you're playing the game of trying to chase, you know, the
Yep.
trophy that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, Tim, we've taken up an hour of his time tonight. Unless you got
know.
any other questions, I'm gonna let him get out of here and we can finish up our evening.
No, I just want to say thanks for joining, Nathan. I mean, we knew on this podcast pretty much nothing about Louisiana Tech. You seem pretty cool. Your school seems pretty cool. We now know what to call that other school in the state.
Yeah.
Right. Louisiana Lafayette. Perfect. Got it.
Yeah.
Done.
Yep. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, thanks for joining us, Nathan. Like it'll be at least a year before we see each other as far as games go. But let's keep in contact, and happy to chat with you anytime you guys want to talk about Sunbelt stuff or Georgia State stuff specifically.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. We'll have to have y'all on our show.
would love to
Yeah.
join. I think the world needs to hear more of my voice. So
I feel the same about mine. That's why I'm here.
there you go. Hey, you know what, Tim? So now between Nathan and Jerry, it's making me really hard to hate the state of Louisiana
You
in its
love
entirety.
Louisiana now. I know.
I know I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go that far, but we found at least a couple of. I mean, but he lives in D.C. now, so he's washing a lot of that stink off of him and everything. So.
A lot of people say DC has a certain other stink to it.
It's a
So
whole
Yeah,
different.
it might. Yeah.
It's too bad you didn't come on when we had Ryan here. He's our political guy. He
oh yeah, that would have been fun.
he would have a lot to say about DC, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
and that fiance of his was living there up until just about a year ago. So, all right,
True.
thanks again, Nathan, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Let's talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks
Nathan.
for having me.
Yep. All right. And here we go. Oh, that's wrong. That's Ryan. That's not you. There we go. There's
go.
Tim.
All
There's
right.
Tim. So that was fun. Good time.
Yeah.
I got a couple other little topics we can talk about, but we're 57 minutes in. He's going to go do that in last call.
We can do that. Yeah.
All right. You want to take us out of here?
Sure. Thanks everyone for listening. We're gonna take a quick break here, heading over last call. Definitely out of beverage, so definitely need to take a break. If you like what you heard or you didn't, just join our Patreon anyway at patreon.com/State of Atlanta. Live streaming access to last call, discounts on merch, group chat action, breaking news, adult bevs at our tailgates, and more. $5 a month. That's all it takes to become a fan of the show. We'd love to have you aboard. Say goodbye, Guy.
Bye, guy.
Peace.